sometimes people have what it takes, but they haven't recognized it yet. Just go forward. So what do you need to do? How do you stand out? So what you need to do is be that person that's different and is bigger than you think. Rise from the ashes and fly like the phoenixes that you are. Welcome everybody, and hello, this is Andrew David, Blake Newbar's Partner Program. Today, this is a review of our customer value journey. Now, what do I mean by that? The customer value journey, this is, we are encountering a group of people who initially probably don't have much awareness over who we are, what we do, that kind of thing, what we have to offer, how we are going to help. And so we need to connect with them. We need to increase that relationship. We need to bring them into the fold, as it were, continue to provide value so that they decide, hey, what you've got is something of value that I want, and I want to, impart some of my money unto you in order to get a return from that, right? So the customer value journey is what we're going to be talking about. This is essentially marketing is effectively taking people through the customer journey, and we're going to do that through effective content and effective copywriting. So let's kind of break this down a little bit. People start, this is a funnel. This is a very rudimentary, and we're going to get a little bit deeper into it, but this is a funnel that kind of the awareness to action. Okay, most people start out in this nebulous region where they're unaware of us. So the first thing we do is we build awareness. Now, this comes from a post in a group. It comes from someone else sharing our stuff. It comes from a number of different places, but we start to build awareness. Now, sometimes they get aware on the first time we post. Sometimes we post and they don't see that right away. It takes multiple exposures. So we've got to build awareness. After we are saying, hey, here I am, because of the value of the content we're putting up, it starts to create interest. They start to then evaluate what they are seeing and where they are. The desire is created because we help them understand that they have a desire to fix something. Sometimes they don't even know. They don't realize that there's a solution. They don't realize they have got a problem, or the efforts they're putting in aren't getting them the results. They're just not paying as much attention. So we've got to increase that desire and then get them to take action on it. Now, people begin over on the left. They begin as a stranger. Then you become a known entity, then a friend, and then a raving fan. So we have this know, like, and trust funnel. People are more likely to buy from someone they know and like and trust. So they get to know you. This is the awareness phase. They start to see what you're posting, how you're posting, what that content, connection is, all of that. Then we get into the like. So they start to build up a little bit of interest in who we are. They, that looks interesting. Why should I care about you? This is where they begin to like you. Are you an expert? Now, do you have to be an expert? No, you don't. So if you haven't yet, I've done trainings on the attractive character. You can go into Russell Brunson's .com secrets. He talks about it, but these are the different types of people, that can help you build trust, the different archetypes that you can take that will help you develop trust with your client, help them develop trust with you. Okay. Does that ring a bell when I say the attractive characters? Anybody remember any of that? No? So some of you guys, yes, some no. All right, so the attractive characters, there's four main types. So one is kind of like the superhero. One is like, in this case, if we're talking about marketing from a marketing perspective, this is Tony Robbins. This is a dude that's been there, that's done that. You want to listen because he knows what he's talking about. He's been in the game for 40, 50 years. This is the guy that's just a rock star. Everyone's going to want to listen. He's living the life. He's got his island. He's got his, all this kind of stuff. I want to listen to him, right? He's the Clark Kent. Now, even the superhero has, the struggle that he's overcome, but he's overcome it. And he's here to share with you all of those success stories, right? Superhero. Most of us think if we're getting into marketing that we have to be the expert just like that. And that's where the imposter syndrome comes in. And that's where we feel like, oh, that's just not me. Why is anyone going to listen to me? It's because we're trying to compare ourselves to them, right? And there's others that fall into that category. There's Russell Brunson, there's Myron Golden, there's Dean Graziosi, there's Brendan Burchard, there's Sean Stevenson, there's Oprah, there's, oh my gosh, why can I not remember his name? Les Brown, right? There's all of these people, like those are superheroes in the space. And we're trying to compare ourselves to them. Oh, I've got to be Susie Orman. I've got to be Ariana Huffington. I've got to be, no, you don't. Okay, you don't. That's just one type. The second type is the adventurer. The adventurer is, hey guys, I haven't done this yet, but I'm on this journey and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna share it with you every single day. And I'm learning how to do it. And I'm following the superhero and I'm following these guys, but I'm out here on a trek. This is the Indiana Jones type, right? Like it's this compelling story that people want to follow because, man, look at what they're doing. Okay. That's the adventurer. And some of you guys can fit into that if you want to, right? But you got to be a little vulnerable there because you're showing when you stumble. You're showing success. You're showing when you stumble. You are opening things up. Here I am. Here's my adventure. Come along for the journey, right? The third one is the evangelist, preacher, reporter role, right? Some of you guys know what I'm talking about there. Which one did I miss? Is that the leader? I think I missed the leader. Let me check. So, where am I at? So the evangelist, the reporter, is, where is it? Is it here? No, that's not it. This is the one that's like, hey guys, I haven't done this yet, but Russell Brunson here says this, right? I haven't done this yet, but I found this great quote. This is a cool system that so-and-so uses. I'm going to test it out. Let me, share that with you, right? That would be a great way for a lot of you guys so that you don't have to, where is this? Here we go. So we have superhero, we have the leader. So this is, I'm taking you by the hand, showing you the ropes, helping you avoid common obstacles. Backstory is real similar to the target audience. So this could be if you've got a bunch of experience in the niche that you're in, right? You're a real estate agent that's doing real estate. You've got a ton of time running maybe a studio or something. You're doing yoga. You've got something along those lines, right? The Adventure Crusader is the one that I talked about. Similar to the leader, but instead of leading the audience to their goals, the adventure is going on a solo mission. And then we have the evangelist or the reporter. So instead of saying, I've done this, this is the one where I'm covering these truths by interviewing experts, using their quotes, looking at what they've done, looking at the other authorities. So this could be, hey, in Tony's journey, one of the very first things that Tony ever did was invest in a program to go see Jim Rohn speak. And it transformed his life, right? So one of the stories he talked about all the time, it was, I think, almost a month's worth of salary for him at the time he was a janitor, right? Something along those lines. Russell Brunson just got done, investing in Dan Kennedy's his whole business, right? But what I'm doing as an evangelist or a reporter, I'm sharing what other people have done, right? Yeah, so these are just kind of the archetypes. So Jamie's saying, following your own path, just learn from those who have made the mistakes before, help us along the way. Don't try and copy, but be inspired. Yeah, so that would be an archetype of kind of the adventurer, right? Like, I'm learning, like there's a map, but I've got to go along the map, follow me, right? So this is kind of how I present myself to the world in my branding is what I'm getting into, right? So some people don't think that you've got to be the leader. Eventually you may transition into the leader. A lot of people will do that as they continue to build, but you start in a certain way. And if you're uncomfortable with it, the archetype of, hey, I'm learning from other people, but this is the system that they use. And this is the system that so-and-so used. And this is, I found this here. I want to share it. Right. So I don't have to be the expert to begin with. I'm not saying, look at everything that I've done. You need to buy my book because I've done all of these things and made all this money. It's I've studied these people and this is what they've got. I teamed up with someone that's done it and here's what they help put together. And that becomes the approach, right? So, okay. Now, customer value journey. Does that make sense, guys? The archetypes and what we're talking about, like why they start to get to know you and like you and trust you is because this is who I am. And I think in my mind, either the adventure or some of you guys are geared for that, where it's like, hey, I'm going to run this journey and I'm going to share it along the way. Some of you guys are absolutely geared towards that. And that's great. I feel like the reporter or the evangelist, that's the one that I'm real comfortable with. I don't have to know everything, but I'm studying it. And then I'm sharing that knowledge that I gained from Gay Hendricks, or I gained from this doctor, or I gained from, here you go, right? And then go do your research. But hey, let me kind of share some of the nuggets with you. So that's a great way to do it without worrying about that imposter syndrome. So, all right, know, like, and trust. How do they get to know you? It's your professional presence. How are you set up online? And then are you doing it in a way that's going to target your audience? For them to get to know you, that's going to come from the type of content that resonates with them. Something that stays true to the archetype that I feel most comfortable with, but presenting the type of content that resonates with my audience. So I want to both inspire, educate, entertain, all of those. Okay. The trust is developed as I interact. Comments, likes on their stuff, content that I'm putting in groups, that kind of thing. And then remember, if in order to buy, it's not you're not buying, they're not buying because you're awesome. They're buying because your product or service is going to help them. It solves a problem for them. In this case, the main products that we have solve the problems of getting more customers using social media, because a lot of people are confused about their social media. So someone's saying that was impressed by Tony till one time he watched the videos and Tony dropped the F-bomb a few times and Jim Rohn didn't. And that's fine. Didn't mean to call you out, but so I apologize. Some people resonate with that and some don't, and sometimes it comes out and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know if Jim Rohn would now or not. It's culture changes frequently. And I think for the most part, Tony's still pretty tame compared with a lot of others. But at the same time, you've got to find the leader that resonates with you, right? You've got to always be you. You've got to be authentic. Absolutely. Don't copy someone else's dream. We must be chasing the dream because the dream will never chase us. Agreed. All right. So, this poor girl has been the face of so many different memes. And I saw something recently where, now she's grown up. But this is what a lot of marketers are doing, guys. They kind of like, oh, you like my post, buy my stuff. You like my post, buy my stuff. You like, why aren't you buying? You should totally buy my stuff. Why aren't you here? Right? Network marketers are notorious for this, right? You've got to create a relationship before you get people to buy. Okay. So some people kind of end up in that friend zone. I hope everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say friend zone. But you've got to make sure. So it's this balance of I want to add value and I want to give content and I want to walk people through that. But at the same time, I need to make sure that I have some calls to action that creates the action. Okay. So Scott's saying Tony has explained that he deliberately uses language that shocks, so it causes people to remember better, keep focus as he's speaking. That's true. And here's the thing. Some people don't like vulgarity, and that's okay, guys. And some people absolutely use it, and that's okay. And some people have very strong opinions on both sides. Statistics show, like if I'm on a sales call, and I know most of you guys are just posting, but I want to bring this up because this is kind of interesting. I saw this just the other day. If I'm on a sales call with you, I go, because who was it? Was it Scott that said that? So let's say Scott and I are on a call, and I immediately go, "How you been?" And Scott goes, "It's been a great effing day." And I go, "It has been pretty effing good, hasn't it?" Now, some people would go completely vulgar. I can't believe that. But when both a consumer and a salesperson cuss on a sales call, closing percentages go up significantly. Not a little bit, quite a lot. So you may run into some people that turn away. At the same time, if that's you, depending on your audience, if I'm going after Christian entrepreneurs, I'm not going to start dropping, vulgar language. If I'm going after, a certain where my demographic is 45 to 65, certain business owners that are making a transition to digital marketing, that might not be the best thing, right? It just totally depends on you and your demographic. And I'm not going to say, never cuss. I'm certainly not going to say that, because some of the biggest people in social media marketing and everything else do it on a consistent basis, because it's just part of it. If it's forced, it's stupid. It's got to just be part of the conversation, right? You guys have heard, like, I've dropped a couple of things here and there. I don't know if I've ever used the F-bomb on one of these calls. But at the same time, I do edit myself sometimes, at least in group settings. But part of that's because I'm representing someone else and not, just me, right? Though, I hang out with Blake and he'll use some language every now and then too. So it is what it is. Okay, the role of marketing and copy. So what we're doing here, what we're doing with our content, guys, is we're moving our prospects step by step through a process and each stage of the value journey. So this is the value journey. This is already in the folder that I've given you guys, but I'm walking people through this journey, right? So marketing moves prospects step by step through that process to help them come to an emotional and a logical decision that what you have is of higher value than what they have to give up to attain it. That what they have is what you have is of higher value than what they have to give up to attain it. That's what marketing is. It's not convincing somebody, right? If I'm trying to convince, then I haven't created enough value for them behind it, right? So there's a client that I'm working with, and they are in a form of PR. They teach you how to get PR, right? So may not fit with kind of where we're at here, but let's assume you've got a book that you're getting out, or you've built a better mousetrap and you need to get in front of as many people as possible, right? So we're going back and forth and back and forth. Well, there's this thing in the advertising world called the advertising value equivalent. Okay, the AVE, advertising value equivalent. So if you can get on certain platforms and get exposure in certain ways, it gets you in front of how many eyeballs and how much is all of that worth and how much would you have had to pay in advertising in order to get it. And it's an industry standard thing. Well, once we kind of figured out what their AVE is for their clients, now instead of trying to convince you, hey, there's a lot that you can accomplish, now you can tap into both the emotions and the logic. What we're trying to do is almost the same type of thing. If you can expand your reach to this many hundreds or thousands of clients, if you can increase your local reach to this many people in your target area, some of these people, 2 clients, right? Like, look at, a lot of times people go, well, they're not going to have enough money. And like one of the common ones that I get, some people will say they get excited for something like a hairstylist, right? Or a beautician. They go, well, but they might not have enough money, and a haircut's only $100 or $50 or something like that, right? How many ladies, like when we look at it, think about how much you spend for every, like if you get a cut and a style or a cut and color, right? How much that's worth. And then how often you're going. And then if you find somebody that's good, how long you stay with them. So like my fiance's been with her stylist now for at least 5 years. And even if she only goes 4 times a year, yeah, it's a serious investment. It really is. The same thing with, and I know it's not everybody, but, manicure, pedicure, some people do that, right? Now they have permanent makeup. So getting your eyebrow, go get your eyebrows done. Apparently permanent makeup isn't so permanent. I didn't understand that. They got to keep going back. Congratulations, your permanent makeup, you got to come back in however many months and get it again. What are we paying for the first time? Right? Can you imagine if you had to go back to get a tattoo every few months? We would have far less ink in this world, right? But that's look, same thing for me. Like, because I'm always on video, I try and go into someone on a consistent basis. The stylist that I've been using for years moved, so I had to find a new guy. This guy's awesome. He's going to make a crap ton of money off of me over the course of the next 5 to 10 years, right? So one client, sometimes you go, oh, but what if they only got a couple of clients? Well, if Johnny is the name of my new barber, if he got 10 clients just like me, and if every single time I go in there's $25, $30, but I'm going to end up going in, depending on what's going on and schedules and all that, I go in about 15 to 20 times a year or something. If he's got 10 clients like that, well, that little bit, that's thousands of dollars in revenue annually. Is that worth it? Yeah. So if I can show them the value of what I've got and how that can help them, that's what you're trying to do. Okay. So we're moving the prospect through, we're showing them the value of what we've got so they can make an emotional and logical decision. So this is kind of what we're doing. People become aware in the bottom left-hand corner. And I realize this is kind of hard to read on the screen. So I'm sharing the slides with you. So they become aware, they start to engage, they subscribe to you, or they like your page, they start to follow, whatever. Then we hope to convert them. Then they get excited. Then we try and re-engage, or a conversion may mean money right away. It may just mean they get, you give them a free ebook or something. And then we kind of keep them rolling through. And we want them to get to where they're promoting, where they're referring friends and family members. But this is all a process, and it goes around and around and around. Okay, so awareness comes through different types of marketing, right? Now, final examples of the aware stage. I'm going to give you guys this. What I'm going to ask you to do over the weekend is just kind of look through it. Look at the know, like, and trust. We want to be right there in the middle. All things being equal, people are going to buy from who they know, like, and trust. They get to know you because they've seen you. They become aware more and more and more, right? And then there's different types of engagement that we do, right? So I'm going to get into a little bit of types of copy, how to copyright. We're going to talk a little bit about this on Monday because we're going to get into content, okay? So spend a few minutes, guys, over the weekend looking at the customer value journey. Imagine your customers and go, okay, so where are most of my customers at in this stage? These two really are going to be your biggest help right at the beginning. Where are most of my customers at? Now, most of them fit into the unaware, maybe the awareness. Some of you guys already have some moving a little further along, but the unaware and awareness. So how do we bring them further down? How do we start to raise their interest? Why should they care about you and about what you've got? And I'll tell you one thing, the only reason they're going to care is if they learn that you care about them, that you know what they're dealing with. That's where that client research comes in. Okay. So these slides are going to be in there. Do some of that study over the weekend. Monday, we're going to wrap up content writing, and we're going to keep going through that a little bit, organic and content, and then we'll use that for some ads and business manager and things this next week. Okay. So helpful at all? Clarify at all? Make you think some? Hopefully think a little bit about kind of your archetype, how you want to put yourself out there. Again, superhero, leader, evangelist, reporter, and adventurer. If you've never seen those before, go back to the YouTube channel, look that up, look up attractive character, or you can pick up Russell's book, or just type in attractive character ClickFunnels. There's a bunch of I didn't come up with that. That's Russell Brunson. Okay. Russell got it from Dan Kennedy, I believe. A lot of people, if you go look up attractive character, people have written articles and just ripped it off as if it was theirs. That's not what the reporter, the evangelist does. What you do is you say, hey, here's something that I found that I think is really cool. I think that's pretty awesome. So go ahead and find it. They are in the Google Drive. I will repost them just in the Skype chat, and I'm also going to give you the link to the Google Drive again inside the Skype chat. So, okay. Appreciate you guys. Go out, have an amazing weekend. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy. Be careful in the heat. It's kind of crazy out there. Love you guys. Talk to you Monday. Bye-bye.
Sometimes people have what it takes, but they haven't recognized it yet. Go forward. So what do you need to do? How do you stand out? What you need to do is be that person that's different and is bigger than you think. Rise from the ashes and fly like the phoenixes that you are.